Hi and welcome to this series of videos on writing a trio. So this follows on from the videos I recorded where I'm writing a minuet in G minor for string quartet, and just thinking about the key, I've just opened this sheet up in Sibelius and set it to G major. I thought G major would be a good key to write this trio in. We've got the first movement in G minor, the last movement in G minor. The second movement will be in B flat, relative major. The minuet's already written in G minor, so the trio traditionally would add a bit of lightness to the piece and a contrast from the minuet section. So I thought G major would be a reasonable choice here. Now please do subscribe to this the channel, and you'll get notifications when I upload new videos on this. So I think this trio is just going to be a very simple. It's going to be very simple harmonically. We're not going to do too much technical stuff in this. I think what we're going to rely on is simple harmonies, some interesting rhythms, interesting ideas, I think. In terms of the structure of the trio, this will be in a binary form, so you have an A section which is repeated, then you've got a B section that's repeated. And normally what I do with my trios is I write them in a as like a small scale sonata form, where you've got your binary form, but your A contains a subject, an idea in the tonic key, then modulates, transitions to the dominant, and it ends there, it's repeated. And then the B section contains a little development, a small, very small scale development, leading back to the original idea in the tonic. And whereas before we modulated or transitioned to the dominant, this time we're just going to stay in the tonic. So it's just going to be a very small scale sonata form. So let's proceed with that. So we could start this off with a chord, just to announce the tonality of the piece. So we could just add a little elaboration to this here. Now we could go to the dominant here or the subdominant. I quite like the idea of staying on the G bass, so going into the subdominant, maybe creating a bit of movement here to contrast to this sort of chordal idea, this chordal bar. So if we do that, we could go and we can just move this G down to, so that's the subdominant, and here we'll just have the G against a dominant seventh chord in the top parts. And here we're going to have a bit more movement, so we'll have quavers. Just change that. Just do that, put sixths on those. And we'll just fill in the harmony here. Just make sure there's no parallel fifths or anything like that. Okay, so we could have another chord here, in fact. Let's go up to the B up there. D. And then just out of interest, we can just have this as quavers as well. and instead of going straight onto the B, we can have the partitura. So just a really simple 4-bar passage here where we're just starting off on the tonic, just adding a little bit of interest, subdominant, dominant sevenths, and then back to the tonic. We'll just add some thirds on this, just add some harmonies. Can have the D, so G, D, G, B. Just add the C here. Okay, so that's all nicely filled in. Okay, so I think we'll just have a change here. So with that, come to the top G there. Good. So let's just have a quick listen. Okay, that's fine. So what we'll do in the next 4 bars is we'll just change the ideas here. We'll add some different ideas. So like dotted rhythms, for example, we'll have maybe a thinning of the texture. We could just have three of the instruments. After all, you know, trio is from the idea of just using 3 instruments. So we could just have that for 4 bars and then continue. Just using, I think what we'll do is we'll just use this and the next 4 bars of ideas, you know, throughout the piece. Just keep it nice and simple. Introduce a lot of imitation and things like that to make it interesting. Great, so I think I'll leave the first video like that, and please do subscribe to the channel and you'll get notified of any updates, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for joining me.